We're going to be talking about reports. So the name of the class is how to create a leaderboard that's going to motivate your team. But we're going to get into a couple other reasons and why reporting is important. My name is Cindy. I've been with Streak for 3 years. I'm a customer success specialist, and I'm going to be joined by Madison today, who again is going to be moderating the chat. She's also going to help me answer questions throughout the class. So you'll see just to the left of the chat button in the bottom right, there's a questions tab. So if you have anything, feel free to pop your questions in there. And then for everybody else in the audience, you can upvote if you have the same question, which will really help us out. So great. Okay, I'm going to run through a real quick agenda of what we'll be covering. So I'll chat a little bit about why I'm doing this class, and then I'll dive right into a pipeline reports dashboard, but I'm going to cover 3 of probably our most popular templated reports. And then right after that, I'm going to show y'all how to create a custom report using our saved views feature. And then towards the end, we're going to talk a little bit about formula columns and then how you can use those calculations as well in a saved view. So I know I mentioned I'll probably pause throughout for questions, but I'll try to leave some time at the end for any remaining or specific questions as well. So, okay, so yeah, why are we talking about this? Part of the class title, hopefully to help your team stay motivated and on track with their goals. Teams usually thrive when they have a set goal and they know where they're at during any given time. So we'll talk about that. It'll also help you understand how your processes are performing. And then from there, you can also make really helpful and informed business decisions from all of the reporting data. So all really, really helpful things to keep in mind when you're thinking about what reports you want to add. And I've got a list here of our 3 popular report templates, but I'm going to dive into each one individually. So the first one here is our interaction summary. This is going to allow you to see all emails sent, call logs, and meeting notes. We also have the time in stage for boxes. This is one of my favorite ones. It's going to help you identify how long boxes are spending in each stage. Again, so you can kind of analyze where things are kind of going stale potentially. And then lastly, we'll talk about our funnel report, which is going to help you understand where your process might have a bottleneck. So I'm going to dive into those here. I'm going to flip over to my pipeline. Oops. We'll go into the sales pipeline here. Your reports dashboard is going to be in your pipeline 3-dot menu in the top right-hand corner. We'll go into reports. I know we've got a lot of longtime users on this class today, but if you're still kind of learning your way around Streak and all of the different data that's tracked, the first thing you'll see when you launch the dashboard is this pop-up. You'll want to do your best to answer these questions. It's just going to feed into some of the templated reports. So what stage do your boxes start in, your success case, failure case, etc. So you can always come back and edit these from the gear icon here, but again, this is what you'll see for the first time. I've already got a pretty curated dashboard here. So here, the first one that I'm going to dive into is that interactions report that I mentioned first. This is going to give you in chart form the number of interactions that all of your teammates are having during your selected time range. So all of our reports also have different configuration settings. So you'll just click on this little caret icon to open up those settings. And so let's dive into what I have selected here. I am only pulling call logs and emails because my team doesn't really do meeting notes, so I don't care about that. I just unchecked it. And then I only want to see my sales team. So I've selected those 6 teammates and unchecked everyone else. And then I also have my time range. This is a dummy pipeline, so I don't have a lot of raw data that comes in and out of here. So the numbers obviously are going to be pretty low, which is why I'm using last quarter. It's just got the most random data in here. But you can imagine that I could use this to see, okay, who on my team is the most active, who's sending the most emails, the most amount of calls. I would not use this report to set goals on your team, for example, to like send X amount of emails a month. So I wouldn't use it to say, hey, everyone, you have to send 200 emails this month or something, right? The way I would use this report is to help me understand maybe where and who on my team might need some support. This is probably most relevant for a sales use case, but a really quick example is like maybe I'm looking at my dashboard and Camilla had 50 more calls than the rest of the team. But maybe Camilla also closed less deals. So how is Camilla having more calls? Maybe we need to help her in her process and figure out why her calls don't equal more closed boxes. So that's kind of how I would look at this and say, okay, or if Camilla is doing 10 calls a month and everyone else is doing 5 to 6, like how can we catch everybody up? What's Camilla doing differently than the rest of the team and how we can support this? So quick tips on how I would and would not use this specific report. I'm going to pause here really quick for any questions if there are any.
No questions yet.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, this one can be pretty straightforward. So let's go into the next one, which is the time and stage. I did mention that this is one of my favorites just because it's so quick and easy. You can just insert this. It's the first templated report if you hit the add report button at the top. And it's going to tell you for the time range that you've selected how the average of time that your boxes are spending in each stage. So you can see that I've actually inserted this report twice. So I've got last quarter, and then in the second one, I have my current quarter. And I would look at this and say, okay, why are my boxes spending 77 days in the follow-up stage? I would probably work with my team to say, is this accurate, or is the team just not moving boxes to the appropriate stage? Maybe things are getting stuck here, but they should actually be in closed lost, or maybe they should be in negotiating. So that's definitely a little bit of a yellow to red flag, but again, it'll help me analyze, okay, well, what is my team not doing, or how can we improve this part of the process? Kind of same deal with negotiating. It really depends on what you're using Streak to do, or what your products are, or what your processes are. But I would maybe set a goal of like, oh, I want to get this down to 40 days instead of 57, just to kind of help with the closed one. So, and then the reason I inserted this twice is because I want to compare last quarter and this quarter. So I can already see Q1 is almost over and we're already doing worse in the prospect stage. So this would help me kind of check in with the team and see where things are getting stuck with the sales process. And then you can customize this, or you can add this report in as many times as you want if you want to compare last year versus this year, or if you just want to compare multiple quarters at once, you can do that just by inserting, by inserting the report again. So that is how I would recommend to use these two to at least compare. Any questions, Maddie, before I hop onto the last funnel?
Yes, we have one question. Is it possible to see the time and stage data in the pipeline view?
Great question, Amy. Not in the pipeline view. So the time and stage data is available only in this report. We can also do some cool stuff with the new exporter. Now that we have, for anyone that attended that class, our new exporter gives us a lot of more like range. We can pull all of the stage change edits and do those calculations there as well. So I think I just saw, okay, I think that, I think there's another one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll read it to you. We have a fairly busy existing reports page on the pipeline my team works from. Can we only create one report page per pipeline, or is there a way to only visualize some reports, not all, or reports based on saved views?
Yes. Okay. Thanks, Isabel. Yeah, I love that question. This is definitely something we've talked about as a team. So you're right. You can only see all of your reports per pipeline in the dashboard, and there isn't a way to say, don't include reports here from a saved view. It's hard to, it's kind of all or nothing. You either customize everything for this one process in the dashboard, or you have to have separate pipelines with separate dashboards. But we can definitely talk about, I think once we have the scheduled piece of the exporter ready, what's going to be really cool about that is you can schedule exports to run every week or every month, however often you need. And then the export refresh can help populate live reports that you have set up either like in another sheet or in another tab. So we can almost do whatever you feel like might be missing in Streak. We could recreate it in Google Sheets. So I'll make a note to reach out to you once the schedule piece is live, and we can talk about that a little bit further.
Awesome. Thanks, Cindy.
Yep. Okay, cool. So I'm going to just quickly dive into this last one, the funnel report. This is probably one of our newer ones, but the funnel is a great way of seeing, again, if there are any bottlenecks in your process. So my favorite example of how to use this is trying to analyze how many of my boxes move through my process and end up in closed won. So in order to do that, I have only a few funnel stages selected. I've unchecked prospect and interested because it doesn't matter to me how many boxes from prospect go to closed won. But what I do want to know is once my team gets in contact with a lead, from here, this is where things really start to warm up. And this is where I want to know how things are moving. So we can see if we close out of the configuration that 97% of boxes from the contacted stage did enter follow-up. So that's a pretty high number. And you can see this even trickles all the way down. My win rate is about 77% from negotiating. So again, depending on your goals, your process, this number might be really good for you, or it might be, maybe you want to increase it. And you can kind of start to see how all of these reports can play together, because maybe if I had gotten my negotiating time down, maybe this closed won rate would have actually gone up. Maybe I would have been more in like the 85 range. So this can kind of help you identify, okay, how can we increase this 77? Where are boxes spending the most amount of time individually? And then you can start to make changes to your process from there, or work with your team on those new goals. Okay, so that kind of sums up the three main reports that I wanted to shout out. Any questions, Maddie, before I go back to working on saved views?
No new questions.
Sweet. Okay, thanks everyone for, all really good questions so far. So I'm going to flip over here to what we're going to be talking about next. Our saved views are really, really helpful if you can't find or can't use any of the existing report templates. So this is where you're going to want to filter your pipeline, and then you can turn it into a custom report. So this is just a really quick snapshot of what that looks like. And I'm going to walk y'all through how to build one from scratch. So if we go back into my sales pipeline, here's that same leaderboard that I took a screenshot of. I am seeing all of the boxes that I closed last year. I'm also grouping by quarter so that I can see the summary of all of those deals here. So if I'm looking, at this view, I closed 51,000 in Q4. Obviously, that was my busiest quarter. And then this custom visual at the top is breaking it down by teammate. So in each quarter, I can see which teammates closed the most amount of boxes. I'm going to walk y'all through how I got here. We're going to go back to the pipeline view, and we're going to start to build a save view from scratch. So you'll click the Save View Editor in the top right-hand corner. Very similar to how you would filter a Google Sheet is how we're going to apply the same, similar rules. I'd recommend, as you're stacking rules in a saved view, you're going to kind of want to answer a question with each filter. So for example, the first thing I want to know is all of my boxes that were in closed won. So choose column. I want to filter the stage first and only look at closed one. So that's one question. My next question is, of all of these boxes, how many of those were closed last year? Because I don't want to see all 36. I just want to see the ones that we closed last year. So I'm actually gonna, so I just hit the little plus sign here to add another condition. I want to see, we're going to use the date of last stage change magic column. It's a date column that's going to tell me automatically when I moved that box to closed one. So we'll just scroll down here a little bit and look, did I pass it already? Date of, yep, I sure did. Date of last stage change. And then I said last year. So I'm going to do inner range. These are the same time ranges that you'll get familiar with in the reports dashboard as well. So I'm going to do last year. And I'm going to show y'all what this looks like if I were to apply the changes now. So as you can see, this doesn't look at all like what I had before. And it's also not super helpful. All this is really giving me is a list view of all of my boxes. But I want to group these by quarter as well. So if we go back into the edit view, this group setting at the very, very bottom is what controls your colored groupings that you see up at the top. So I want to group by this same magic column and see it by quarter. So if I scroll through here and look for date of last stage change, I'm going to group not by month. You can leave it by month. I personally like to use quarters when I'm working with a full year's worth of data. It's just easier for me to visualize, but you're welcome to do week. Also probably would be too much. So I'd recommend staying within a month or a quarter. We'll hit apply. And now we're a lot closer to what I had before. So once you feel good with some filters that you're using in your view, you can go ahead and save it. So we'll call this Dupe of 2024 leaderboard because I already have that one. And now how do we make this into a custom report? So you're going to want to change the visualization. Instead of using these colored groupings, which are the default, you'll hit the three-dot menu of your pipeline. You'll hover over pipeline visualization, and you have a few options to pick from here. So I'm going to grab column charts. These are probably the most common. You can use pie chart, but it really just depends on the data that you're pulling. Column chart and bar chart allow you to further subgroup, which I'll show you in just a moment. So here, all this is telling me is the number of boxes. So I'm just seeing by quarter the number of boxes that were won. But I want to see of this entire bar graph, how was the split between my teammates? So that's where you can subgroup here. I can choose the assigned to column. If you're someone that's an individual contributor or you just have a really small team, you can use any other custom field. So maybe instead of assigned to, I want to subgroup by lead source. Maybe I want to see which lead sources were my most popular in last year as I was closing deals. So this is, again, a really helpful visual, and you can use any of the custom data to your advantage. So I'm going to flip this back to assigned to because this is how I want to see that. And this is an exact copy of what I created in this screenshot. And now I want to add this to my reports dashboard. And I've got 2024, you can rename it here, leaderboard. I'll go back into my pipeline here. And now I've saved that visual in my reports dashboard so that if I have another manager or maybe the owner of my company or my leader can go into the dashboard and see that information as well at a quick glance. I'll pause here in case there are any other questions.
No new questions. Yeah, really explained this well. Thanks, Cindy.
Of course. Yeah. I think the really easy thing about saved views is once you have a filter that you really like, you don't have to start over. So I can maybe if I want the same exact leaderboard, but for this year, all I have to do is edit the view, flip this from last year to this year, hit apply, and I can save this as a new view. This will be 2025 leaderboard. And I can pin this, and now I can have the team use both of these to compare. So as we wrap Q1, we can see who's leading the team currently, but can definitely implement some fun internal challenges or something to some friendly competition as the team progresses throughout the year. So I would then take this and add it to my dashboard as well. So I've got these two back to back. Sweet. Okay, I'm gonna go from here. We'll flip back over to the presentation. And, oh, sorry, we're gonna go into formula columns next. Formula columns are really awesome. I only put a few common uses here, but there are, let me pull up, I have a little article that I wanted to share and I'll pop it in the chat. But there are so many other helpful JavaScript formulas that y'all can use. I'm going to pop this in there. The common uses that I added are you can use our AI formulas to compare how much time has passed between two specific dates. So for example, if you want to see how much time has passed between the date that a box was created and the date that it entered closed won, you can use that in a formula. You can calculate commission values, or you can return the probability of deal close based on stage, just to name a few, but definitely check out some of those other examples. I'm going to walk us through the commission one. If we go back over here, we look at the 2020, the coffee sales. I already have this one going, but if you wanted to insert a new column, our formula option is here up at the top. I'm going to double click any of these fields so you can see our formula editor. You can just type natural language in the text box up here to get it to return any calculation that you need. So in order for me to get this, I actually typed in this where I said my commission structure is tiered. So if the deal is less than 2,000, I want a 2% commission. Between that, between 2 and 5, 5%. Anything between 5 and 10 is 7%. And of course, anything greater is 10% commission. So from this, I hit enter and it spit out this exact formula. I'm just going to have it rerun for us so that y'all can see. Once it's done running, you'll know that it's successful if your preview here at the bottom is in green. If you see any error messages in the bottom right, there's something wrong with the formula, and you can either try to reprompt the AI or just reach out to our team and we can help you get the proper JavaScript. So I'm going to go ahead and save this code. It's just going to rerun. And then sometimes if you have tens of thousands of boxes, it may just take a few minutes, but this one ran pretty quickly for me. So I've got this commission formula that helps me pay out my team. And I already have this pre-built save view where I'm filtering off of that commission, if it's set, if it entered closed won this month, and I want a subgroup I assigned to. So at the end of every single month, I know I can just come into this view and this is what I have to pay out each team member. So really quick example of how to use formulas in tandem with some saved views, but there's so many options. Again, if you want to do some cool calculations, you can get pretty specific, and the AI is super helpful. So awesome. I appreciate y'all hanging out with me this far. We've got about 4 minutes left, so definitely want to open it up for some Q&A if there is any.
No new questions have come in, but I do have one question about this view here for you. How do we see the total number for commission, not broken up by rep?
Sweet. Yeah, I think if you wanted to see it in a different format, you can just go back to your view. And the groupings is what is controlling who it's split up across the top. So if I just wanted to see all of the commission that I'm paying out, I would just flip this back to the stage, hit apply, and now I'm looking at that total. So you can even have this as a separate save view as well. So like total commission payouts and save that. So that's how I would do that one.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Cindy.
Yeah, no, thanks for all of the questions. I love reporting. I know it can be like a little scary or intimidating, especially if you're just getting started, or even if you have like 10 years worth of data. I thought I saw someone that's been, yeah, Kyle, using Streak for 10 years. You got a lot of data in there. So you can use what the team is entering to create some new reports for you. So yeah, we'll definitely probably have some more classes around reporting. I know I've probably said this like 3 times already, but now that we have our new exporter, that opens up so many more possibilities. So if anyone's interested, we can definitely host some classes on how to further. I know Amy has already done one, but we can continue those on how to manipulate the newsfeed data to get even more custom reporting. While we have a couple of minutes, if anyone wants to drop what they want to learn about next, that would be super, super helpful. You'll also be getting a survey, hopefully sometime this week, just asking you how the call went, how the classes are going, and asking you specifically what you want to learn about next. So we really appreciate the time. I know our entire Streak team is really excited about these. So we're pumped to meet y'all in future classes. I see some people typing, so I'm going to give it a second before I fully end. Also, I don't know if it's just me, but it feels like a Friday.
It honestly does, yeah.
Sweet, Isabel. Yeah, mail merge comms functionality. We can definitely do that. Quick insider note, we have some really cool changes coming to our mail merge tool very soon. So honestly, some changes that everyone here, it's feedback we've been getting for a really long time. So we're really excited about that. So stay tuned on the mail merge stuff. Sorry, I know I just flipped my screen here. And we can host a class on the mail merge functionality, and we'll definitely be showing y'all the new tools that are coming out. So, and then let's see. Sorry, I see one more person typing, so I don't want to end it prematurely. Yeah, no, thank you, Brittany, for joining. Okay, sweet. Well, we're right on time. We did really good, Maddie, on on our time here. So thanks again, everyone, for joining us. Can't thank you enough for all the time. I know taking out 30 minutes at the end of a workday can be tough. So really appreciate y'all, and we'll see you in a future class. Bye, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.